What Bible story would qualify as a Florida man story? Florida man kills his brother in a field, says he was jealous of what the Lord gave him. Says he tried burying the body multiple times, but the ground refuses to take his body and keeps unburying it. Florida man tries to kill daughter-in-law for getting pregnant during sex work. Plot twist, he is the father of her child. Tamar and Judah, Genesis 38, Florida woman becomes sex worker for a day to screw her father-in-law, gets pregnant, and blackmails him. Tamar and Judah, Genesis 38, Florida man duped on his wedding night, marries fiancé's sister, Jacob and Leah, Genesis 29, Florida man gains his father-in-law's stamp of approval by delivering 200 bloody foreskins, David and Saul, 1 Samuel 18, Florida man who once faked schizophrenia to escape rival gang and swindled his own church becomes anointed one, David and Achish, 1 Samuel 21. Obese Florida man stabbed to death, weapon lost in fatty folds. Bonus, murderer escapes because victim's attendants think he's using the bathroom. Egon and Ehud, Judges 3, Florida man gets hair stuck in tree, killed by dad's second in command, Absalom and Joab, 2 Samuel 18, Florida woman hammers 10 stake through sleeping man's head, Yael and Sisera, Judges 4-5, Florida man begs half-sister to cook him chicken nuggets, rapes her, Tamar and Amnon, 2 Samuel 13, this Tamar is a different lady than the fake prostitute father-in-law screwing Tamar in Genesis, Florida man drugs and murders half-brother as revenge for incestual rape, Amnon and Absalom, 2 Samuel 13. Florida governor's scheme to cover up sex scandal fails when local war hero refuses to sleep with his own wife. Governor turns to murder, David, Bathsheba, and Uriah, 2 Samuel 11. Honestly, 99% of David's actions are Florida man titles. Killing giants, taking foreskins, screwing women, hiding out in caves, lying to priests, burning towns over insults, trashy family drama, etc. Florida man, whose wife went missing, claims she turned into something that looked like bath salts. Story of Sodom and Gomorrah? Yes. The bit about Lot and his wife. Don't forget the sequel. Web link. I grew up in a very religious family and this was always the craziest story for me. It's like Game of Thrones 2,000 years earlier. We had the Bible on tape that my dad would put on for us as we went to sleep, instead of something normal like soft music. And I remember when it got to that part I had never heard it before, which needless to say led to a very awkward breakfast for my parents the next morning. Lot's actions are as concerning as Cain's wife when it comes to Sunday school questions. This was literally always my question. Who did Cain marry? How are there more people than a now dead brother and a murdered brother plus their parents? Apparently, this is not a question 7-year-olds at a Christian private school are supposed to ask. Florida man paints door with sheep's blood. Said it was to protect his firstborn son. 3 days later drags his family through a river running from the cops. Not heard from again for 40 years. Florida man spends 40 years walking from Orlando to Miami, dies at city limits due to an incident back in '93 where he needed water and so beat a rock with a stick instead of talking to it. Florida man cuts his girlfriend into pieces after she is raped to death, mails them to every town in Florida. Edit, Judges 19-21. Florida man shoves girlfriend out of Airbnb, waits until she is raped to death, and then cuts her body into pieces and mails it to every town in Florida. FTFY. The important part is the townspeople surrounded the Airbnb, wanting to rape the man, and anyone really. So the man, in a coward move, sends out wife, concubine. Like, what kind of welcoming party is that? I don't want to vacation there. This is a recurring thing in the Bible. When the men of Sodom surrounded Lot's house demanding Lot let them rape 2 visiting angels, Lot offered up his 2 virgin daughters instead. After Sodom was destroyed, Lot's daughters got him drunk and raped him so they could bear him more children. What the actual F? People often mistake the Bible for the cutesy little pictures with animals and smiling shepherds with tiny crooks. It is hardcore dark in parts. Take some examples. Jacob's daughter gets raped by a local tribal leader. Her brothers say they'll overlook it so long as the entire tribe gets circumcised so the two families can become one. Tribal leader talks all the men of his tribe into getting circumcised. While all the men are in pain from getting their foreskins cut off, two of the brothers go through and murder the whole tribe. Israel destroys the army of pagan raiders. The leader runs and hides with a woman in her tent. Woman gets him to sleep, then takes a tent peg, and drills him through the head with it. Israelite leader promises God he will offer up the first thing as a burnt offering that comes out to meet him when he goes home. Man goes home, is greeted by his daughter. Scholars disagree whether the daughter is actually offered up or simply enters the priesthood. David's daughter is raped by his nephew Edit, actually just another of David's sons, but by a different mother, so her half-brother. David's son Absalom, Tamar's direct brother, learns of it and murders said nephew. David just sort of shrugs it off. Later Absalom leads a revolt against the king and makes a whole big deal of sleeping with David's concubines in the sight of all Israel. His hair gets him caught in a tree and David's general stabs him with a spear until he dies. Elisha, God's prophet, is mocked by a group of boys for being bald. He prays to God and two bears come out of the woods and eat all of the boys. Stuff like that. Jacob's daughter gets raped by a local tribal leader. Her brothers say they'll overlook it so long as the entire tribe gets circumcised so the two families can become one. Tribal leader talks all the men of his tribe into getting circumcised. While all the men are in pain from getting their foreskins cut off, two of the brothers go through and murder the whole tribe. Laughing out loud, what a plan. The last one was my Florida man. What story is this? Judges 19-21. Left-handed Florida man stabs overweight politician with sword. The sword disappears into the politician's body, never to be seen again. Let's not forget that the only reason the guards didn't stop him before being ordered out of the room was because they already patted him down, but only for if he would wield the blade with his right hand. They didn't touch his inner right thigh at all. Also that they thought the king was taking a massive dump and didn't check on him until later. Lo, but for this irritable bowel syndrome, perchance my life be saved. Which one is this? Not a commonly referenced one. It's the story of the judge Ehud. He went to deliver tribute money to King Eglon of Moab in order to save Israel. It was all a ploy so that Ehud could stab the evil king. He got the king alone and stabbed him, but the king was so fat that the long dagger disappeared under his skin and fat, and Ehud just left it there. He then escaped down a latrine. What makes this even funnier is that the king's servants thought he was just taking a really long time to go to the bathroom, so they didn't come up to check on him for a long time. Here is a link if you want to read it. Judges 3:12-29. Haha, what a wild ride. I'll check it out, thanks. The left-handed part is also important. The guards would have checked him for a weapon, but only on the left hip where a right-handed person would draw it from. That seems like an incredibly short-sighted oversight and massive security loophole. Let me tell you about Mithridates. Dude is at war with his nephew. They meet to discuss peace one last time before the battle. So they're in the middle of a field between the two armies. Both bring guards. Mithridates is getting patted down by his nephew's guards, and as they start going up his thigh he basically winks at them and says, keep going and you'll find a different sword than you're looking for. So the guard stops patting him down. So him and his nephew walk away to discuss terms alone, but in between both armies so everyone can see. Then Mithridates pulls out the dagger he had hidden by his penis and kills his nephew in front of everyone. Florida man kills pro fighter with a rock. Brings projectile weapon to a fencing challenge, bends rules but result is accepted. I mean, what are you going to do, unkill Goliath? Florida man trades entire inheritance to his brother in exchange for some baked beans. Edit, like pretty much everything Jacob and Esau did in Genesis is 100%, Florida man. Florida man dresses up as goat to prank blind father, you won't believe what happens next. Florida man marries 2 wives and so does his brother. Florida man wrestles social worker in parking lot before gang feud. Entire town's male population circumcised so that leader can marry foreign woman, then her families kills all the men while recovering. How do you even bring this up to the other men in the town? Look guys, I really want to marry this chick, so I need you all to do me a solid and let this guy snip your dick. When you're the elder of the town, you bring it up in the same way you tell them what you're having for dinner, very matter-of-factly without room for debate. Okay, so, we've had some policy changes this week you should all know about. Let's see here. Okay, so the rates on property have risen by 1%, water restrictions are now in place, every male of the village over 12 years old has to get the extra skin cut off the tip of his dick so I can marry this chick. Saturday the dump is holding a free disposal day. Hold up, what was that last one? Saturday is free disposal day at the dump, try to keep up Ezekiel. This was such a badass story though. The leader raped Simeon and Levi's sister, and then they really got nuclear revenge. And when Jacob told his sons that put the family in danger from other towns, when the news spreads they said, "Should he have treated our sister like a whore?" End of chapter. Guess Jacob didn't have anything to say after that. Although the brothers get punished later, though. Simeon's tribe gets very little inheritance while Levi's tribe become the priests, serving all the others. I guess Jacob thought they should have just killed the rapist instead of slaughtering all the men in town. The rule then was an eye for an eye, and if you take too much in retribution, it just becomes a cycle of one-upping revenge. I'm not too familiar with the Bible, may I ask the original story of the last anecdote? Jacob is traveling back to Canaan after he's been gone for a while. Due to stealing Esau's inheritance, he had to get the F out of Dodge. He makes camp for the night and wrestles with a man until daybreak. The mysterious man can't win, so dislocates Jacob's hip and says Jacob has to let him go 'cause it's daybreak. Jacob says, "No. You must bless me." The man gives him the name Israel, he who struggles with God, and they both go about their business. Depending on your faith/tradition, Jacob wrestled either with an angel or God. Or a vampire that was desperate to escape the rising sun. Get off me. No, you must bless me. Bro, quit playin'. As a fan of the Blade series, I like your interpretation best. One of the weirdest bits of Genesis for me, and Genesis is a weird book. Like you're telling me God, or an angel, but it was God in the copy I read, showed up or of nowhere to wrestle Jacob for no clear reason, and then God couldn't even win the match? Meanwhile, there's nothing in the rest of Jacob's story to suggest that he was super strong or anything. Would someone like Samson, whom God gave great strength for following rituals properly, have just absolutely demolished God in a fight? Edit. I have been reminded that Jacob actually does have the notable feat of strength that he single-handedly removed a boulder covering a well which usually required a whole team of people, so he probably was canonically jacked. Good catch for those who remembered, I forgot that part completely. Welcome to the Bible, where meanings have been lost or obscured for centuries. Seriously, though, such an odd story, I've never been able to figure it out. Edit. Here's the Wikipedia entry for this story, if anyone is interested. At the time of the story, Jacob was going to meet Esau, who was ready to kill him. Brothers, am I right? So Jacob sent all of his worldly goods to Esau in advance, hoping to pacify him. Some people interpret the angel as punishment by God for not trusting him and instead giving stuff to Esau to guarantee peace. Because Jacob refused to back down, the angel crippled his hip, but did ultimately bless him. From then on, Jacob, or Israel now, walked with a limp and would not eat the meat from any hip bones or joints. Biblical times were weird. And did he just show up home and they were like Jacob? And he was like, no buttholes here, it's Israel now family. This sounds like the kind of story my in-the-closet gay friend would tell about meeting some random guy at a rest stop. Florida women fight over baby until Florida man threatens to cut it in half. Can I get the legs? I'll take the legs. Let her have the top part. Edit. All you Lamas wearing hats people need Jesus. Or John Mulaney, whoever's more convenient. She is so effed up, she calls the head of the baby the top part. Sounds better if you call him the King of Florida because it implies to the reader that they haven't been keeping up with some important Floridian political developments. Florida women fight over baby until Governor DeSantis threatens to cut it in half. Florida man impales couple after seeing them engage in extramarital coupling. Original poster replies. Phineas the priest. WWFD? What would Ferb do? Ferb, I know what we're going to do today. Florida man, sold into slavery by his brothers, returns to prank his family. Edit, expanded storyline, Florida man with fancy coat, sold into slavery by his brothers, manages to become Lieutenant Governor of California, pranks family when they come asking for food assistance. I think you missed the part where the slave became an Egyptian prince or something like that. I don't know, it's been years since I last read this story. Florida man claims superhuman strength until Florida woman cuts off his mullet. Hell yeah, brethren. Cheers from Uruk. Florida man caught with bag containing 200 foreskins of men from his neighboring community. Reports indicate this is the same individual who killed local heavyweight celebrity by flinging a pebble at his head several years ago as a teen. Florida men try to build a tower to the heavens, but abandons project due to poor communication skills. Musical notes, where were you when they built the tower to heaven? Musical note. Did it make you feel like crying? Or did you think it was kind of gay? When you look at the energy involved in a well-handled sling, it's really more like shooting him in the face than flinging a pebble. People seriously underestimate the sling. It was an actual military weapon for thousands of years even after the story was set. It's always used as an underdog beats much stronger opponent because God gave him strength or courage or whatever story, when really it's guy comes up with a good strategy to whip stones at a much bigger and slower target while keeping at a distance. David's naked slinger build was a pretty clever counter to the tank-dominant meta of single combat. David only killed Goliath to get the tech boost for archery. Disoriented Florida man found on the beach claims to have spent the last 3 days in the stomach of a large fish. The sheer number of empty rum bottles nearby leads me to believe 3 things. 1. He was probably drunk as F and there was no giant fish. 2. He's a dick for not sharing any with me. 3. He's the reason all the rum is gone. But why is the rum gone? Florida man goes on roid rage and kills 100s with the jawbone of an butt, gets stripped of his manhood by Florida stripper. If there's any figure in the Bible who embodies the essence of Florida man, it's Samson. Bitch cut off my mullet, dude. And she was a crap lay. I did all the work while she just lied there. Florida man pulls 200-pound door off of the gate of Gaza. Samson is definitely Bible Florida man. Florida man refuses to get haircut due to claiming gives me strength. Florida man rips lion in half, later eats honey from rotten corpse of a lion, and goes on acid trip. Florida makes bet with groomsmen for 30 shirts if they answer correctly, fiancé spoiled it, and Florida man kills 30 other men for shirts. Florida man outraged fiancé left him for groomsmen, father-in-law instead offers her younger sister. Florida man ties 300 foxes together in pairs, with lit torch between them and ex-fiancé's parents' fields due to stability issues. Florida man kills 1,000 rioters after they kill his ex-fiancée and her father after he set fields on fire. Edit, thanks for awards. Same Florida man ties 2 foxes together with lit torch and ex-fiancé's parents. Yo, you left me hanging. I feel like honey should be in quotes. Found some honey in a bloated old corpse. Okay. And here, try this pudding I found on the bottom of my boot. There are bees that make honey from rotting meat. I bet they'd love to make a hive in a lion's rib cage. I didn't need to learn that today, thanks. Vulture bees, much like maggots, usually enter the carcass through the eyes. They will then root around inside gathering the meat suitable for their needs. The vulture bee salivates on the rotting flesh and then consumes it, storing the flesh in its special stomach compartment. When it returns to the hive, this meat is regurgitated and processed by a worker bee, which breaks the meat down into an edible substance resembling honey. You know, I'm not very familiar with most of the Bible, but the more of these I read, the more I think they just didn't market the Bible very well. I'd probably buy the special edition collector's tin with resin Jesus figurine. He is resin indeed. Be proud of that joke. This made me effing laugh, thank you. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.